The twin suns of Epsilon 9 rose slowly over the red desert, painting the sky in shades of gold and fire. It was another peaceful morning on the human colony. Children ran between silver domes, drones hummed over farmlands, and engineers prepared for another workday. For 10 years, the colony had known nothing but calm skies and safe nights. Commander Rhea Nolan stood on the main tower, watching the sunrise. She had fought many battles before coming here, but Epsilon 9 had always felt like home. No wars, no enemies, she often said. Just life. But peace is never forever. At first it was just a sound, a low hum in the air, like thunder that refused to fade. Rhea frowned and turned to the radar screen beside her. The technician beside her looked confused. "Commander, I'm picking up something strange. It's not showing on standard scans." The hum grew louder. The sky began to darken, though it was still morning. Birds flew away, and the ground vibrated slightly under their feet. Rhea grabbed the communicator. "All units, alert mode. Something's entering our atmosphere." Then the sky ripped open. A massive flash of light appeared above the colony, like the heavens tearing apart. From it came dark ships, hundreds of them, sliding down like shadows with wings. Their shapes were sharp and glowing blue, nothing like any human design. "Who are they?" someone shouted. Rhea didn't answer. She had seen many fleets in her career. Pirates, smugglers, raiders, but nothing like this. These ships moved with impossible precision, as if they shared one mind. Without warning, they fired. Plasma bolts rained down, tearing through domes and towers. Explosions rolled across the colony. The shockwave threw people to the ground. Dust and fire filled the air. Rhea shouted orders, trying to calm the chaos. "All civilians to underground shelters. Defense teams on me." The colony's defense guns turned upward and fired back, but their energy blasts barely scratched the enemy ships. Within minutes, half the colony was burning. From the sky, a strange metallic voice echoed through the loudspeakers of the attacking ships. "Humans of Epsilon 9, surrender the core. Resistance will erase your world," Rhea froze. "The core?" There was no such thing here, at least none that she knew of. She opened a channel to Earth Command, but the signal was blocked. All communication was dead. They were alone. In the chaos, Rhea and a small team of soldiers moved toward the colony's southern sector, where the attack seemed heaviest. They found a group of miners hiding behind broken cargo crates. One of them was injured. His suit burned from plasma fire. Rhea knelt beside him. "Who did this? What do they want?" The miner coughed, his eyes wide with fear. "They're not here for us, Commander. They're digging for something. Under us." "Under us?" He nodded weakly and pointed toward the canyon near the colony's edge. "There's something buried in the old tunnels. Metal. Glowing. We tried to study it last week, but it woke up." The man's voice faded and his hand fell to the ground. He was gone. Rhea stood silently. Around her, the colony burned, but her mind was already racing. If the attackers were after something underground, maybe that was their true target. She turned to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Kai Ren. "Get a team ready. We're going to the mining tunnels." Kai looked at her in disbelief. "Commander, the whole colony is under attack. You want to go deeper?" "Yes," Rhea said firmly. "If that thing underground is what they want, we need to find it first." They moved through the burning streets, dodging falling debris and enemy fire. The air smelled of smoke and metal. Above them, human fighters tried to hold the line, but they were outnumbered 100-1. Finally, they reached the mining zone. The entrance to the tunnels was half buried under collapsed rocks. Rhea's team cleared the path and went inside. The deeper they went, the quieter it became. Only the faint hum of distant machines echoed through the stone walls. After a long descent, they reached a wide chamber. In the center stood something that didn't belong there. A massive circular door of silver metal, covered in strange symbols that shimmered faintly with blue light. "What is this?" Kai whispered. Rhea stepped closer, touching the surface gently. The metal felt warm, almost alive. "I think this is what they're looking for," she said quietly. "And it's not human." Suddenly the ground trembled. The same hum they heard earlier filled the air again, louder this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. The symbols on the door began to glow brighter, responding to Rhea's touch. "Commander, we should go," Kai shouted, but Rhea didn't move. She was staring at something in the symbols, a shape she recognized from the attackers' ships. It was the same mark. She turned back to her team. "They didn't come to destroy us," she said slowly. "They came to protect this." A massive explosion shook the tunnel. The shockwave threw everyone off balance. When Rhea looked up, part of the roof had collapsed, sealing them inside. Through the dust and fire, a small drone camera, one of theirs, flickered on. Rhea picked it up and stared into it, speaking directly to anyone who might be watching. "This is Commander Rhea Nolan of Epsilon 9. We are under attack by an unknown force. If anyone receives this message, tell Earth the feed cut off." Above ground, the alien ships circled the burning colony. One of their captains turned to the main commander, a tall figure in dark armor. "Lord Vorak, the humans have reached the chamber." The commander's voice was calm, almost cold. "Then it begins," he said. "The core will awaken, and as the last sun of Epsilon 9 sank behind the horizon, the red planet trembled, as if something ancient beneath its surface had just opened its eyes. Darkness surrounded the team as the tunnel dust began to settle. The air was thick and hot, filled with the smell of smoke and burned rock. Commander Rhea Nolan pushed herself up from the ground, coughing. Her helmet light flickered weakly. "Everyone still alive?" she asked, her voice echoing in the silence. A few groans answered her. Lieutenant Kai Ren pulled himself out from under a broken pipe. "We're alive, Commander, but the exit's sealed. We're trapped down here." Rhea looked at the glowing metal door before them, the strange symbols still pulsing slowly like a living heart. "Then we go forward," she said. "And whatever's behind this door, it's the reason they attacked." Dr. Ezra Von, the colony's chief scientist, adjusted his broken glasses and stepped closer. "These symbols, they're not human, not even from any known alien race. It's something older." "Older than what?" Kai asked. "Older than civilization itself," Von whispered. Rhea took a deep breath and placed her hand on the center of the door again. The symbols shifted under her touch, rearranging into a new pattern. A faint vibration ran through the ground. The soldiers raised their weapons, ready for anything. The circular door rotated slowly, opening with a deep, metallic sound. A gust of cold air rushed out, carrying the scent of something ancient, dust, stone, and energy. Inside, a wide chamber glowed with blue light. The walls were covered in the same markings, and at the center stood a tall structure, a crystal-like core floating above the ground. Surrounded by metallic roots that reached into the earth, everyone stared in silence. The core pulsed, sending ripples of light across the room. Dr. Von whispered, "It's alive." Kai frowned. "Alive? You mean it's a machine?" "No," Von replied softly. "It's both." Rhea stepped closer. The core reacted instantly, glowing brighter as if it could sense her presence. Her wrist communicator beeped wildly, detecting unknown energy signals. Before anyone could stop her, she reached out and touched it. A blinding flash filled the room. The soldiers fell to the ground, covering their eyes. A high-pitched hum echoed in their heads. For a few seconds, time itself seemed to freeze. When the light faded, Rhea was still standing, but the symbols from the walls had moved, wrapping around her hands and arms like glowing tattoos. Kai ran to her. "Commander!" "Are you all right?" Rhea looked down at her arms in shock. "I think..." "It marked me." Dr. Von examined her quickly. "Not just you," he said, turning to the others. Every person who had entered the chamber now had glowing marks, each different in shape and color. "What does it mean?" Kai asked. Before anyone could answer, Rhea's radio crackled to life. A voice, rough and distorted, came through. "This is Lieutenant Harris from the North Sector. Commander, do you copy?" "Harris, we're here." "What's your status?" "Not good," he said. "The enemy ships stopped firing. They're just hovering above us. It's like they're waiting for something." "Commander, what did you find down there?" Rhea looked at the glowing core behind her. "Something they fear," she said. "Or something they want to control." The signal cut out suddenly. The team looked at each other. Then, without warning, a holographic image appeared in the middle of the chamber. a tall alien figure with silver skin and dark armor. His eyes glowed blue, and his voice echoed like thunder. "I am Vorak, commander of the Zilari Dominion," the figure said. "You have touched what should have remained sealed. Step away from the core." Rhea raised her weapon instinctively. "Who are you? Why attack us?" "You humans have no idea what you have awakened," Vorak replied coldly. "That device is not a treasure. It is a curse. It destroyed my people's worlds long before yours existed. Then why are you here?" Rhea demanded. "To make sure it never awakens again," Vorak said. "But now it has touched you. You are connected to it. You will bring doom to all who follow." The hologram vanished. For a moment no one spoke. Only the humming of the core filled the air. Kai broke the silence. "He's lying. They came to steal it, not protect it." Dr. Von shook his head. "Maybe not. I've studied ancient signals before. There were rumors of something powerful, something that could bend life itself. Maybe this is it." Suddenly the chamber lights flickered. The core's glow intensified, and strange patterns spread across the floor. The walls trembled. "Commander," Von said quickly, "it's reacting to your energy. It's bonding with you." Rhea gritted her teeth. "Then let's finish this before it kills us." She pulled a control device from her belt and tried to scan the core, but the scanner overloaded instantly, sparking and dying in her hands. The light around the core began to spin faster, forming a bright ring that expanded toward them. Kai shouted, "Everyone out, now!" They ran toward the tunnel, but the exit was still blocked. Rocks rained down as the ceiling cracked. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the light stopped. Everything went still. The glowing marks on their skin dimmed but didn't disappear. Rhea looked back at the core. It now floated silently, calm once more. Von stepped forward cautiously. "It's dormant again," he said. "But it changed us. I can feel it." Rhea touched the mark on her arm. It pulsed once, faintly like a heartbeat. "We're going back up," she ordered. "If the enemy is waiting for this thing, we can't stay here. We need to know what it did to us and why they fear it." As they climbed through the rubble, the camera drone still followed them, recording everything outside above the red plains. The alien ship slowly turned and pulled back into the sky. Commander Vorak watched from his flagship, his expression hard. "Let them go," he said quietly. "They won't escape the mark," his second officer frowned. "But, my lord, they could spread the corruption." Vorak's eyes glowed brighter. "Exactly. Let the galaxy see what happens when humans touch forbidden power." Far below, as the team finally reached the surface, Rhea looked up at the retreating ships and whispered, "You started this war, but we'll finish it." The camera zoomed out slowly, showing the burning colony, the retreating alien fleet, and the mysterious glow still shining faintly from deep underground. Something had awakened, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. The sky above Epsilon 9 was quiet again, but the silence felt wrong. The alien ships were gone, leaving behind smoke, destruction, and fear. The red plains were covered with broken machines and half-buried ruins of what had once been a peaceful colony. Commander Rhea Nolan stood near the main control tower, her armor scorched and covered in dust. Around her, survivors worked to repair what they could. But everyone noticed something strange about those who had gone into the tunnels. Their skin still carried glowing marks. Rhea's mark, shaped like a circle of light, pulsed faintly every few seconds. Others had lines or symbols on their arms, necks, or faces. No one understood what they meant. Dr. Ezra Von scanned Rhea's arm with a portable sensor. "The mark is fused to your nervous system," he said. "It's not paint. It's part of you now," Rhea frowned. "Can you remove it?" Von shook his head. "No, it's deeper than bone. But it's not just decoration. It's active. It's doing something." Lieutenant Kyren looked uneasy. "Commander, people are scared. Some think we brought a curse. Others say we're not human anymore." Rhea turned toward the crowd of colonists nearby. Their faces were tired and afraid. She raised her voice. "Listen to me. We didn't ask for this. We didn't cause this. But whatever this mark is, it's not our enemy. The real enemy is still out there, and they'll be back." Her words gave some comfort. But not much. That night, as the survivors gathered around fires for warmth, Rhea sat quietly outside the damaged command center. The red moonlight reflected off her mark, glowing faintly on her skin. Suddenly, she heard a scream. A young soldier stumbled out of a nearby shelter, holding his head. Sparks of blue light flashed around his hands. "I can't control it!" he shouted. The ground beneath him cracked, glowing for a moment before going dark again. Everyone backed away in fear. Dr. Von ran forward. "It's energy! His body's producing pure plasma." Rhea grabbed the soldier's shoulders. "Calm down! Breathe! Focus!" The soldier gasped and the light faded. He collapsed into her arms, shaking but alive. Von looked at Rhea, his face pale. "It's happening to others too. The marks are activating different abilities." "What kind of abilities?" Rhea asked. He hesitated. "That soldier could control energy. Another one claimed to hear voices from far away. And you, Commander." He paused. "When you stopped that explosion earlier, that wasn't luck. You moved before it happened." Rhea's eyes narrowed. She remembered how she had sensed danger seconds before the tunnel roof fell. "You think I can see the future?" "Not see it," Von said quietly. "Feel it." The news spread quickly through the colony. The survivors with marks began to notice strange things, sharper reflexes, strange dreams, or bursts of power they couldn't explain. They were no longer just humans. Word reached nearby colonies and even the outer human stations. Soon, the story spread across the galaxy's communication network. The survivors of Epsilon 9 have changed. Humans touched alien power and survived. The marked ones exist. Some called them heroes. Others called them threats. On a distant station orbiting Earth, military officers watched the reports. Admiral Tessa Corrin, head of Galactic Defense, looked serious. "Send a ship to Epsilon 9, she ordered. "If these reports are true, we can't let that power fall into the wrong hands." Meanwhile, in the far reaches of space, inside the dark flagship of the Zalari Dominion, Commander Vorak stood before a massive star map. His second-in-command bowed. "The humans have survived, my lord, and the core's energy has bonded to them." Vorak's eyes glowed blue. "Then the corruption has begun. Soon they will not control it. It will control them." He turned to face the stars. "Prepare the fleet. Epsilon 9 must be purged before the mark spreads." Back on the colony, Rhea gathered her team in the underground control room. Maps, damaged screens, and broken radios filled the space. "We can't stay here," Kai said. "The next attack will finish us," Rhea nodded. "I know, but we can't run either. The marks, whatever they've done to us, might be the only thing that can protect humanity." Von looked thoughtful. "We could study the core's data, maybe understand its purpose. It chose you for a reason." Rhea looked at her glowing arm. "If that's true, then I'll find out why." Suddenly, a loud alarm echoed through the base. The few working sensors showed massive energy spikes in orbit. Kai checked the readings. "Multiple ships incoming. It's them. They're back." Rhea clenched her jaw. "Everyone to battle stations. We hold this line no matter what." But as the sirens blared and people scrambled, Rhea felt something strange in her mind. A whisper, calm and distant. "Do not fight them with anger. The core remembers." She froze, looking up at the ceiling as if the voice came from above. Kai noticed her expression. "Commander, what's wrong?" Rhea shook her head slowly. "Nothing. I just heard something." Before she could explain, the sky outside turned red. Giant alien ships appeared again, glowing with blue fire, descending like demons from the clouds. Rhea's mark flared with light, burning brighter than ever. She raised her weapon and shouted, "Everyone take cover!" The first plasma blast struck the ground, shaking the whole colony. This time, humanity wasn't just defending a colony. They were defending a secret that could change the entire galaxy. The red planet shook again as alien ships entered the atmosphere. The sky turned dark, filled with thunder and fire. For the second time, Epsilon 9 was under attack, but this time, humanity was ready to fight back. Commander Rhea Nolan stood on the main platform, the wind tearing at her armor. Her mark glowed like a burning circle on her arm. Around her, defense towers powered up and soldiers prepared for battle. The air smelled of dust, smoke and fear. "Status report," Rhea shouted. Lieutenant Kai Ren looked up from the command table. "We've got 24 working guns and maybe 50 fighters left. The orbital ships are holding the upper line, but they won't last long." Rhea nodded. "Then we fight on the ground. If we can't stop them above, we stop them here." Dr. Ezra Von appeared beside her, carrying a small, glowing device. "I've been studying the marks," he said quickly. "They connect to that core underground. The more danger we face, the stronger they become." Rhea frowned. "You mean this thing wants us to fight?" Von looked uncertain. "Maybe not fight, maybe defend. But if the energy builds too much, I don't know what it'll do." Before she could reply, the ground shook violently. A massive Zalari ship broke through the clouds, firing plasma blasts that turned the colony outskirts into burning glass. The defenders fired back with everything they had. Laser fire streaked across the sky. Missiles exploded in midair. The sound of battle was deafening. Kai shouted, "Enemy forces landing in the east zone! Take a squad and hold that position!" Rhea ordered. "No one gets through." Kai saluted and ran toward the chaos. Rhea turned to the soldiers around her. "Listen to me. We're not just fighting for this colony. We're fighting for every human world out there. Show them what it means to be human." A roar rose from the defenders. The battle began. Alien troops, tall, armored and glowing blue, stormed through the dust. Their weapons fired arcs of energy that burned through steel. Human fighters responded with pulse rifles, grenades and sheer determination. Rhea moved through the battlefield like lightning, her instincts guiding her before the enemy even attacked. Every time she aimed, her shots hit perfectly. Every time someone was about to be hit, she was already there to push them away. Her mark pulsed brighter with every move. Meanwhile, high above the surface, the sky became a storm of war. Human ships and alien destroyers clashed in orbit. The colony's main defense cruiser, Vanguard 3, broke through enemy lines, firing a wave of torpedoes that lit up the dark. But for every alien ship destroyed, 2 more appeared. Inside the alien flagship, Commander Vorak watched calmly. "They fight well," he said to his officers. "Too well." "The mark has chosen its hosts," his second officer turned. "Shall we destroy the planet, my lord?" Vorak shook his head. "No, let them burn themselves first. The core will feed on their war, and then—" He smiled coldly. "It will awaken." Back on the surface, Dr. Von worked desperately near the underground vault. His instruments flashed red. "Commander!" he shouted over the comms. "You need to stop the fighting. The core's energy is climbing fast. It's reacting to the battle." Rhea ducked behind a fallen wall, breathing hard. "We don't have a choice, Doctor. If we stop now, we die." "No," Von insisted. "If you don't stop, everyone dies. The readings show a build-up strong enough to vaporize this entire planet." Rhea hesitated, her heart racing. Around her, the sound of war raged, explosions, screams, and fire everywhere. She looked at the mark on her arm. It was burning brighter than ever, and then she heard the whisper again. "End the war, or the galaxy will burn." She froze. The voice was calm but powerful, not human, not alien, something else entirely. Kai's voice broke through the radio. "Commander! We're losing the east side. If you have a plan, now's the time." Rhea stood up slowly. "I have one, but you're not going to like it." She ran toward the command tower, blasting enemies as she went. Inside, she opened a secure channel to all remaining ships. "This is Commander Nolan. All units prepare to retreat to the inner zone. I'm going to stop this permanently." Kai's voice came back, shocked. "Retreat? Commander, that'll leave you alone down there." "I know," she said. "That's the point." Ignoring their protests, Rhea entered the mining tunnels again. The air below was colder than before, humming with strange energy. The symbols on the walls glowed brighter, almost alive. She reached the chamber where the core floated, still pulsing with light, reacting to the chaos above. It was no longer calm. It was angry. Bolts of energy shot across the room. Dr. Von's voice came through the radio, panicked. "Rhea, if you touch it again, it could kill you." Rhea looked at the swirling energy and said quietly, "Or it could save everyone." She stepped closer, the light reflecting in her eyes. "I don't know what you are," she whispered to the core, "but if you can hear me, help us. Help humanity." The chamber exploded with light. Above ground, every weapon stopped firing for a moment. The ships froze mid-battle. The sky turned white. Kai stared upward. What the hell is that? A massive wave of blue light shot out from the colony, spreading across the planet and into space. Alien ships began to lose power. Their engines died, their weapons shut down. Even human ships flickered, floating silently. Inside the alien flagship, Vorak's eyes widened. "No, it's awakening on its own." He slammed his fist on the console. "Pull back now!" On the planet's surface, Rhea stood before the glowing core. Her mark now covered half her body, shining like molten light. Her voice was calm. "It's over," she said. "This war ends now." But the core's hum grew louder, and cracks of energy spread through the walls. The entire planet began to shake. Dr. Von shouted through the radio, "Commander, it's too unstable. You have to get out of there." Rhea looked up, her eyes glowing faintly. "If I leave, it'll destroy everything." She took one last deep breath. "Tell them." Humanity stood its ground. The chamber filled with light so bright it blinded the senses. Then silence. Above, the alien fleet retreated into the stars. Epsilon 9 still burned, but the war had stopped. No one knew what Rhea had done, only that she was gone, and the core had changed. Its glow was no longer wild. It pulsed calmly, like a heartbeat. Some said she died that day. Others whispered she became something greater. But one thing was certain, the galaxy had felt the shock of Epsilon 9, and it was only the beginning. The fires of Epsilon 9 had finally gone silent. The sky was dark again, not from night, but from ash drifting across the ruined colony. What had once been full of life now lay in shadow. The alien fleet had vanished. Their ships had pulled back, broken and powerless after the strange wave of light spread from the planet. No one understood what had happened. All they knew was that the war had stopped, and Commander Rhea Nolan was gone. For 2 days, the survivors searched the tunnels, calling her name. Nothing. The chamber where the core had been was sealed by a wall of crystal-like stone. Even explosives could not break through. Dr. Ezra Von stood before it, his uniform torn and face covered with dust. He placed a hand on the glowing wall. "She's in there," he whispered. "I can feel her." Lieutenant Kai Ren shook his head. "You think she's alive? After that blast?" Von's eyes didn't move. "Alive or something more?" He turned to his instruments. The readings made no sense. Waves of unknown energy pulsing every few seconds, as if the planet itself had a heartbeat. Then suddenly, the ground trembled. The glowing wall cracked, and a soft blue mist filled the chamber. Kai stepped back. "What now?" From within the mist a figure appeared, walking slowly out of the light. It was Rhea. Her armor was scorched and broken, but her body looked unharmed. Her eyes glowed faintly with blue light, and the marks on her arms had spread across her entire body like living veins of energy. The soldiers stared in silence. Kai whispered, "Commander, is that really you?" Rhea looked at him and smiled weakly. "It's me, but I'm not the same." Dr. Von moved closer, shocked. "The core, what did it do to you?" Rhea looked around the room. The walls themselves were glowing, alive with energy. "It showed me everything," she said softly. "Who built it?" "Why it was buried here," Kai frowned. "Then tell us," Rhea took a deep breath. "It's not a weapon. It's a guardian engine, created by an ancient race called the Arathin. They built it to stop wars, not start them. When civilizations began destroying each other, the engine awoke and wiped everything clean." Von's face turned pale. "It destroys civilizations?" Rhea nodded slowly. "Yes, but only when war spreads too far. That's why the Zalari fear it. They tried to control it once, long ago, and it nearly erased their entire empire." Kai clenched his fists. "And now it's connected to you." Rhea looked at her glowing hands. "It bonded with me when I touched it. It needed a living host to survive. someone who could control its power instead of letting it destroy everything. The room shook again. The light pulsed faster. Von's scanner beeped wildly. The core's energy is climbing again, he warned. Something's happening. Rhea closed her eyes. It's waking up. Fully this time. Outside, across the planet, the ground split open. Streams of blue light shot from the soil, forming massive rings in the sky. The clouds swirled, glowing like fire. Survivors ran for shelter, shouting in panic. It's happening again. Kai looked at Rhea, fear in his voice. Can you stop it? I can try, she said. But if I fail, Epsilon 9 will vanish. She stepped toward the glowing crystal wall, which began to open slowly, revealing the floating core once again, larger, brighter, alive. It hummed deeply, vibrating through the floor. As Rhea approached, voices echoed in her mind. You are chosen, not as soldier, but as balance. Protect peace, or all will fall to silence. Rhea gritted her teeth. If you want peace, then help me protect my people. She raised her hands. Light shot from her marks, wrapping around the core. The two energies connected, forming a beam that reached straight into the sky. From orbit, human ships saw the beam cutting through space like a pillar of light. Sensors went wild, Captain! A soldier shouted aboard one ship. Energy reading from Epsilon 9 off the charts. Pull back, the captain ordered. It's going to blow! But instead of an explosion, the light split into 7 streams, shooting across the stars, each heading toward a different region of the galaxy. Dr. Von watched in awe. It's sending a signal. No, a warning. Rhea's voice echoed through the chamber, layered with the deep tone of the Guardian engine. To all who wage war, stop. The galaxy is under watch. The next battle will be your last. Every major power, human, alien, pirate, empire, received the same transmission. Across the galaxy, ships paused mid-war. Fleets powered down. Even the Zelari Dominion went silent. Inside his flagship, Commander Vorak stared at the glowing screens. The voice of Rhea filled the room. This is not a threat. It's a promise. Vorak slammed his fist on the console. She's merged with it. The Guardian lives again. His officer whispered. What do we do, my lord? Vorak's eyes burned. We hunt her before she becomes the weapon that ends us all. Back on the surface, Rhea collapsed to her knees. The light around her faded, and the core grew quiet once more. Kai and Von ran to her. Commander, are you okay? Rhea nodded weakly. Yes, but the galaxy isn't. Von frowned. What do you mean? She looked up at the red sky. The engine showed me what's coming. Vorak won't stop. And the signal, it woke something else, something ancient, beyond even the Zelari. Kai stared at her, confused. Another enemy. The stars above Epsilon 9 burned red. What was once a quiet system now glowed with the lights of war. Hundreds of ships gathered in orbit, human fleets, rebel crafts and alien vessels that had once been enemies, all standing together for one last fight. At the center of the command deck, Commander Rhea Nolan stood tall, her armor now fused with faint blue veins of light from the Guardian core. Her eyes reflected both strength and sadness. She had seen what was coming, the end of one empire and maybe the end of many worlds. Dr. Ezra Von worked at the main console. The Zelari fleet is approaching fast, over 300 warships, he said. They're bringing their flag dreadnought, the Obsidian Vow, Vorak's personal ship. Lieutenant Kai Ren tightened his gloves. Then this is it, the last stand. Rhea nodded slowly. No more running. If Vorak wants Epsilon 9, he'll have to destroy everything, and we won't let him. Outside, the first shots were fired. Energy beams cut through space, lighting up the void like fireworks. Massive explosions rippled between the fleets. The battle had begun. The Vanguard, Rhea's command ship, shook violently as plasma torpedoes grazed its shields. Shields at 40%, shouted the pilot. Rhea gripped the edge of her chair. Return fire! Target their forward batteries. Dozens of human cruisers launched volleys of plasma and missiles, slamming into the Zelari lines. For a moment, the sky lit up like a storm, but the Zelari were relentless. Vorak's voice echoed through the comms. You think you can stop destiny, human? The core belongs to us. You will burn with your world. Rhea stared at his image on the holoscreen, the tall, armored alien commander with glowing blue eyes and a cruel smile. Vorak, she said coldly, the core doesn't belong to anyone. It chose peace, and you'll never understand that, Vorak laughed. Peace is weakness. Power decides who survives. His fleet unleashed another wave. On the planet below, the survivors, the marked ones, stood ready. The energy from their marks glowed brighter than ever. They were no longer afraid of what they had become. Kai led the ground defenses. All teams in position. Remember, we fight for everyone who couldn't. Dr. Von worked beside him, monitoring the power surges from Rhea's ship. She's merging with the core again, he said quietly. She's using it to link every marked one together, through thought. Kai felt it suddenly, a voice inside his mind, calm and strong. Hold the line, Kai, I'm with you. He smiled faintly. Always, Commander. When the Zalari troops landed, the ground erupted in fire. But this time humanity was ready. The marked ones fought with impossible strength. Some moved faster than the eye could see, others controlled fire, light, or gravity itself. Every heartbeat of theirs pulsed with the same blue energy from the core. High above, aboard the Obsidian Vow, Vorak watched the battle turn. His ships were falling back. His eyes burned with fury. Enough, he roared. Prepare the singularity cannon. Target the planet! His officers hesitated. My lord, that will destroy everything, even our troops. Vorak glared. Do it. If I cannot have the core, no one will. At the same moment, Rhea appeared on his holographic screen. Vorak, stop this madness. He sneered. You cannot stop me, human. You are one. I am Legion. Rhea's eyes glowed brighter. Then face me yourself. Vorak's smile faded. Very well. Rhea teleported directly into his ship, surrounded by a burst of light. The moment she appeared, alarms went off. Guards rushed toward her, but she raised her hand. A wave of blue energy blasted them back. She walked straight into Vorak's chamber. The alien commander stood at the center, his armor humming with dark energy. You've become a shadow of the Arathin, Vorak said, raising his weapon. Their power will consume you. Rhea's voice was calm. Maybe, but it will end with you. They charged. Blades of plasma clashed. Energy rippled through the room, cracking the walls. Vorak's strikes were heavy, filled with rage. Rhea's movements were precise, guided by the core itself. Vorak struck her across the chest, sending her flying back. You are nothing without your machine. Rhea's eyes flared. I am the machine. A burst of blue energy exploded from her body, shattering his armor. Vorak fell to his knees, smoke rising from his chest. He looked up, defiant even in defeat. You can't kill me. I'm eternal, Rhea pointed her hand at him. Then fade into eternity. A surge of light consumed him. When it faded, only silence remained. Vorak, the terror of 1,000 worlds, was gone. The singularity cannon's energy began to overload. The Obsidian Vow shook violently. Rhea stumbled, hearing the core's voice in her mind. One life for millions. Will you give it? She knew what it meant. Ezra, she called through the comms, get everyone off the planet. Now, Von's voice crackled back. What are you doing, Rhea? She smiled sadly. Finishing it. She closed her eyes and merged completely with the core's energy. The ship, the weapon, even the battlefield began to dissolve into light. From the surface, the survivors looked up as the entire Zalari fleet vanished in a silent flash. No explosion, just a wave of peaceful light spreading across the sky. The war was over. Kai fell to his knees, tears in his eyes. She did it. She saved us. Dr. Von watched the sky, whispering, No, Kai. She became the Guardian. Far beyond Epsilon 9, somewhere deep in the void, a spark of blue light floated among the stars. It pulsed once, a heartbeat. Rhea's voice echoed softly through the silence. The war is over, but the galaxy must still learn peace. The light drifted onward, toward the unknown, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy was quiet. Years passed since the Battle of Epsilon 9. The galaxy had changed. The endless wars that once filled the stars were gone. The Zalari Dominion no longer existed, and the human colonies had united under one banner, the Galactic Peace Accord. But the cost of that peace was written in memory. On the surface of Epsilon 9, the red plains had begun to bloom again. Green patches of new life spread where fire once ruled. Birds returned to the skies, and every night, a soft blue light glowed in the horizon, a silent reminder of the one who had saved them all. Commander Rhea Nolan was gone, but her presence was everywhere. The people called her the Guardian of Epsilon 9. Dr. Ezra Von, older now, stood near the monument built in Rhea's honor. It was a tall silver statue holding a glowing crystal at its heart, a fragment of the Guardian core. Children played nearby, laughing. Soldiers no longer carried weapons. They carried tools to rebuild homes and research stations. Lieutenant Kai Ren approached from behind, smiling faintly. His hair had grayed, but his eyes still carried the same fire. "Still talking to her, Doc?" Kai asked. Von chuckled softly. "Every day." She doesn't answer. "But sometimes the air hums when I speak her name." Kai looked up at the glowing horizon. "She's still out there somewhere." Von nodded. "Maybe she is. Or maybe she became something larger, something watching over us all." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Von pointed toward the stars. "Look." Above them, streaks of blue light moved across the night sky, forming rings and patterns no human technology could explain. Kai whispered, "Just like the day she saved us." Von smiled. "No, this time it's different. It's not war, it's communication." In the main observatory of Epsilon 9, scientists worked day and night. Strange energy signals had begun to reappear, similar to the Guardian core, but from different worlds. Young researcher Lyra Von, Ezra's daughter, adjusted her headset. "Dad, the readings are identical to the core's frequency." Ezra turned sharply. "That's impossible." "The core was one of a kind," Lyra shook her head. "Not anymore. There are 7. Kai leaned over the console. 7 Guardian signals. "Across the galaxy." Lyra nodded. "Yes, and they're all responding to something, a source, near the galactic edge." Ezra frowned. "The edge? Nothing lives out there." But before he could finish, the blue light outside pulsed again, this time brighter, sharper, almost alive. The voice that followed wasn't through speakers or radios. It was inside their minds. "Children of the stars." "It is time," Ezra froze. "That voice." Kai's eyes widened. "Rhea? The Guardians were never meant to rule, only to guide. The galaxy's peace will be tested again. But you are ready now." The lights in the sky shifted, forming the shape of a great wing, stretching from one horizon to another. Lyra whispered, "She's showing us the path." Ezra placed a hand over his heart. "No, she's showing us hope." Months later, across multiple star systems, the marked ones began feeling their powers return, stronger, more stable than before. Kai organized a new unit, not soldiers, but protectors, explorers, meant to carry Rhea's message to distant worlds. They were called the New Guardians. Each bore the glowing mark that had once appeared on Epsilon 9, proof that Rhea's power still flowed through them. Before their first mission, Kai stood before the monument looking up at the statue. "You gave everything," he whispered. "Now we'll make sure it was worth it." Ezra stood beside him. "She'd be proud." "Maybe she's even watching," Kai smiled softly. "No, she is watching." In the silent void beyond the known galaxy, a glowing figure drifted among the stars, a being made of light and memory. Rhea's voice echoed softly as she looked down upon the countless worlds below. "They've learned. They've grown. My fight is over." Behind her, 6 more lights appeared, faint but steady. Voices whispered within them, old and new, speaking as one. "You are not alone, Guardian. The others have awakened." Rhea turned toward the vast, endless dark, where something ancient stirred once again.